Goku vs. Superman is one of the most debated cross-verse topics in the fictional debating community, and while interest has died off in recent years, the topic remains controversial and spikes up in popularity on occasion. However, that's not exactly what I'll be discussing today, and I'll instead be looking at a far less debated variant of this matchup. In this video, I will cover Goku vs. Superman with equal stats, looking into their experience, skills, abilities, intelligence, and more to determine who would win this battle. Since stats will be equalized, this means their strength, speed, durability, and stamina will all be equal for this hypothetical battle. While both characters do have ways to augment their statistics, they will initially be equal, though it can change as the battle progresses. Goku will be starting off in his mastered Ultra Instinct form, while Superman will be in his base, but with standard sunlight reserves. We will be looking at Dragon Ball Super with his manga and anime showings, while Superman will be his Rebirth version with his post-crisis New 52 and Rebirth feats being applicable. Citations for all these feats will be put on screen so you guys can find them, but me saying them out loud would take way too much time and recordings. I will cover both how these characters would use their abilities in character as well as out of character. This makes a pretty big difference since both of these characters don't use some of their abilities in most battles, or at least don't start off with them. With these rules in standard set, we can begin analyzing this matchup, starting with skill. Goku is one of the most skilled martial artists in the Dragon Ball series, having been trained by numerous martial artists and having been in battles against various fighters. He's won martial arts tournaments, created his own techniques, and mastered godly martial arts. Goku has shown the ability to adapt to his opponents mid-fight, like when he created his own technique to counter Roshi despite only seeing him use his technique once. He could also instantly find counters to Ten Shinhan's multiform technique and did the same to Hit's time skip. After having just gained Super Saiyan God, Goku learned how to nullify Beerus' punches. Even as a kid, he was able to mimic the Kamehameha, an attack that takes years for martial artists to master, by only seeing it once. He can also fight without his sight by analyzing the air currents. Goku has been stated to have no openings in his guard, though this is a bit inconsistent with Goku being infamous for lowering his guard in important situations. However, in most combat situations, Goku will not lower his guard if he knows who his opponent is. Goku has trained for decades, learning techniques from all sorts of masters. Master Roshi, someone considered to be a martial arts god, eventually ran out of things to teach Goku. Goku even mastered Ultra Instinct in less than an hour, something literal gods struggle to learn. Goku has decades of experience in battle, but it's clear his skill should not be limited by his age. As mentioned before, Goku could counter Hit, someone with over 1,000 years of experience in combat, by just watching him in one fight, and almost won their fight. Overall, it's clear Goku is extraordinarily skilled, surpassing even gods in terms of skill. He can adapt to techniques after simply seeing them once, and has very few, if any, weaknesses. Moving on to Superman. The last son of Krypton is significantly more skilled than some claim him to be. He's been trained by the likes of Batman, Wonder Woman, Mongol, Wildcat, and Wyoska. A Superman guidebook also refers to him as a combat master. He has repeatedly shown knowledge of pressure points, and has even been shown beating characters similar in stats to him via superior skill. Superman even defeated Ultraman and Superwoman, alternate versions of him and Wonder Woman, via his skill. Superman is highly experienced, having been in battles with all sorts of different characters, with years of experience as a hero. He even fought in Asgard for 1,000 years, and while he did have time to rest, he spent parts of every day in combat. In the New 52, Superman defeated Wraith, someone stronger than him, via his skill. He also has mastered Kryptonian martial arts, such as Torquazim Rao and Torquazim Vo, giving him physical and mental techniques, as well as making him a perfect weapon. Superman can adapt to his opponent's abilities, and could even adapt to robots that were adapting to him, as well as people who could read his moves before he even made them. He can use shifts in the air currents to locate opponents, and has fought while powerless many times. While he was in Cobra, a peak human's body, he fought Cobra, who was in Batman's body. While both characters were physically even, Cobra boasted he was a master practitioner of all martial arts, but Superman was able to overcome him due to his experience anyways. There are some questionable metas for him scaling to Batman or Wonder Woman in skill, but I'll touch upon those a little bit more later because it's a bit less interesting discussing this topic with those feats in mind, and they are, as I mentioned, pretty questionable. But even still, disregarding that, Superman would still have tons of experience, training, and techniques he can use in combat. He's incredibly versatile, being able to adapt to many different styles on the fly. Now let's move on to abilities. Superman has many iconic abilities, most notably his heat vision, freeze breath, superhuman senses, and solar energy absorption. However, he has many more abilities, and even his most basic ones have many somewhat obscure applications. Superman's heat vision, aside from being a powerful heat-based attack, can be amplified for great effect, telekinetically attack molecules, channel through his X-ray to target the brain, seal holes in reality, ionize the air around things to nullify them, and hurt intangible beings. Superman's senses and analyzation abilities are also absurd, greater than both Batman and Wonder Woman. He can notice flaws in Martian Manhunter's shapeshifting, hear signals from a solar system away, can hear brain frequencies, and even see an infinite distance in front of him. Superman can approximate melting point by looking at enemies, calculate the pressure auditory nerves can withstand by simply looking at the person, and subconsciously find the ballistics of every bullet someone has ever fired, and the vector and mass of each of their bodies. Superman sees several ways to improve on Batman's schematics, and can do precision work even better than Batman's machines. He even found a weakness in an infinitely programmable machinery, unimaginably more complex than even Kryptonian technology. The Man of Steel also has very impressive feats with his phasing. He has phased through punches from Doomsday, energy blasts from Mongul and Mongal, went invisible, and even can phase through an opponent to negate their durability. Superman also has regenerated from holes in his body, stabbings from spears, and a broken leg. He's absorbed many solar-based kinds of radiation, and stores radiation like a solar battery. It would take 2 days of pure darkness for Superman to run out of his reserves. Superman's control over static electricity allows him to seal up temporal breaches, and make fields to capture opponents. He can also use the theta state to fight subconsciously and make mental distractions. Metropolis's best also has many resistances. He has resisted soul targeting and soul draining attacks, and has resisted many different forms of mind manipulation, including Mr. Mixius Pitilix, Martian Manhunters, Parallaxes, and Brainiacs. He's also resisted reality warping and transmutation. Superman can resist existence erasure from beings like Darkseid, Mixie, and the Time Trapper. He can also break out of Time Stop, resist telekinesis, survive attacks on subatomic levels, and can somewhat resist kryptonite. Hell, he's even figured out how to counter teleportation. After getting stronger than ever after the events of Warworld Apocalypse, Superman has shown the ability to create portals and create constructs in his form, almost like a Green Lantern. Superman's versatility is ridiculous, giving him many ways to fight against characters physically more powerful than him, and immediately create strategies to overwhelm opponents. Goku also has quite the versatility, with his abilities being quite an underrated aspect of his. Goku's abilities are all based on his use of Ki, which is composed of vigor, courage, and right-mindedness. This gives him quite the arsenal due to the many applications Ki has. For example, while we all know Ki can create large laser beams, most famously the Kamehameha, it can also be used to blind opponents via the Solar Flare, paralyze opponents via the Godbind. He can also use it to heal himself. Goku can create Ki mines, use telekinesis and the Kaya wave to push back opponents, and create barriers for defense, which can shield himself from poison. In Dragon Ball, Ki beams attack on an atomic level, meaning Dragon Ball characters can dish out and survive that level of precision. He can also teleport via instant transmission, and can somewhat use the Hakai in the manga, which can erase characters from existence. On top of what I've mentioned before, Goku has also shown regeneration passively, and can nullify attacks, both physical and energy-based. Goku can see through illusions, can sense his opponent's intentions, use the Kienzan to cut through stronger characters, and can survive the Hakai, which, as mentioned before, is existence erasure. He also has Ultra Instinct, which allows him to subconsciously move, dodge, and attack. Even when just showing a hint of Ultra Instinct, Goku could dodge a lethal blow before Beerus even started attacking. He can also attack non-physical beings, as shown both against Hit in their second fight and when creating ripples against Infinite Zamasu. As a Saiyan, Goku can get stronger by fighting, though the amplification varies. As well as this, when he gets stronger, he will also get faster and more durable, with Ultra Instinct amplifying his stats even more, making him sharper, faster, and tougher. Goku resists paralysis, as he was able to get out of Frieza's imprisonment ball, and can resist Time Stop, as shown by him surpassing Hit's time skip. Goku can restart his heart with a Ki Blast, and can seal his opponents with the Mafuba. He can also create 7 illusionary clones of himself. He also adapted to Granola's pressure points after getting hit by the technique once, and can use the Genki Dama, a huge ball of Ki that requires the energy of either others or celestial bodies to use. His Kaioken ability also amplifies his stats, but hinders his stamina significantly, especially when in higher forms. He has shown the ability to resist extreme heat and cold, specifically the former when he endured lava in the Broly movie. Goku can also create a giant ki avatar, increasing his range, giving him extra protection, and possibly even increasing his attack potency. Overall, Goku's mastery over ki gives him good versatility, and his ability to improve in many ways mid-fight can give him a physical edge, despite initially starting with equal stats. Now that I've analyzed both characters, we can draw a conclusion on who would actually win. However, considering how complex this battle is, I'll go over the many possibilities of the outcome before stating who I actually think is more likely to come out on top. Many of Goku's abilities get countered by Superman's senses, as Superman could use his senses to determine where the ki mines, Kienzan, and the real Goku amongst the afterimage/illusions are located. It would also easily let him deal with instant transmission. He could definitely resist a Kai, and could likely see Goku's plan with Mafuba beforehand and avoid it. However, Goku could see through a lot of Superman's illusions, as he can both resist illusions and figure out the intent of an attack. He could use his own senses to negate Superman's invisibility, and would more than likely be able to hit Superman while he's phasing. Goku could likely use a barrier to block off Superman's freeze breath, and could adapt to Superman's pressure points. Both characters have comparable regeneration, though it's possibly in Superman's favor, since he does need to use up ki to achieve the same level. Goku's Ultra Instinct and Superman's Theta State would counter each other in terms of subconscious movement, though Goku's ever-growing power would definitely give him an advantage. As well as this, Goku's Godbind could potentially paralyze Superman, at least for a little bit, as even a Solar Amp Superman has struggled with similar attacks. Goku could also likely resist Superman's electromagnetic barriers, considering he resisted paralysis from Frieza. Depending on what Superman throws out, he could also be able to nullify those attacks too. Superman could nullify Goku's ki beams too, however, and could definitely resist his limited telekinesis. His needs to negate Goku's durability could also easily end up favoring him in this fight. Superman can also fly to the sun, which, as mentioned before, is a power source that would heal him as well as increase his power over time. Goku's atomic attacks also wouldn't mean much. As mentioned before, Superman has survived attacks on subatomic levels. Now, in terms of martial arts, Superman definitely holds an experience advantage, though Goku has been able to overcome similarly experienced warriors. Superman's fight against the adapting robots also shows Goku's adaptability wouldn't easily give him the win, and Superman's versatility in martial arts and training can't be ignored. Goku has been trained by many masters as well, however, and has clearly shown martial arts above experienced gods. However, many of Goku's greatest skill feats involve him finding a weakness to an opponent's ability, and Superman's martial arts don't really have weaknesses. Even if Goku could predict Superman's strikes, Superman, as mentioned before, has dealt with that too. Superman's analyzation gives him an inherent advantage, as it would allow him to gain intel simply by looking at Goku, while Goku would likely have to test things out first. Superman's ability to read Goku's heartbeat and see how much pressure his nerves can take could also be helpful in certain situations, and that is something Goku simply cannot replicate. However, Goku's quick thinking isn't to be underestimated, as his simple instinct and experience have allowed him to learn opponents' styles quickly. It just doesn't entirely stand up to a brain that's smarter than a supercomputer, and precise enough to find flaws in infinitely programmable technology. Still, it means Goku won't be at the back foot for the whole fight. Goku's statistics amplification would be incredibly useful. While certain techniques like Kaioken do drain stamina, his automatic mid-fight growth will give him the AP, durability, and speed advantage, albeit an unquantifiable one. This, combined with paralysis, could give Goku the win. Both have giant avatar forms that are sort of hard to gauge the power of, but assuming they just increase range and give an extra level of protection, they're pretty much even in this aspect. While Goku could resist molecular or atomic attacks, Superman's ability to target internal organs is pretty tough to beat. Superman wouldn't have to kill Goku, as he could hit his brain with concussive force to knock him out, or cut out the part of his brain that contains his knowledge on his abilities and skills. If bloodlusted, Superman could use a boom tube to bring Goku an outer versal distance away, or dunk him in the Source Wall or Phantom Zone. While these ensure a win if bloodlusted, unlikely Superman would actually do this, as he's only done it once. While both these characters have various counters and resistances, if I have to declare a winner, while Goku's mid-fight combat growth, ki mastery, and quick mind would challenge the Man of Steel, Superman's senses, analyzation, and durability negation gives him a slight edge overall. While it'd be very close, Superman would be able to reach his win condition sooner, and has an unbeatable win condition if bloodlusted. Goku could definitely take the fight in certain circumstances, but overall, Superman takes a slight majority. If I had to put it in numerical terms, it'd be 55 to 45 or so. However, as mentioned before, there are arguments for Superman scaling to likes of Batman or Wonder Woman in terms of skill, and these These would definitely tilt things massively in his favor, as those two have insane feats and scaling for skill, though without getting too deep into it, some of the evidence is kind of weird. For example, a depowered Superman beat Owlman, however, it's hard to say if Owlman really stacks up to Batman in skill. Superman can also fight Black Adam, who is about as skilled as Batman, though it didn't really seem like he was doing anything too skillful while fighting Superman, so it's likely he chose just to brawl simplistically. While this may seem like a downplay of Superman's skill, I do think if you consider it, scaling Superman to Black Adam in skill for them having a very traditional just kind of brawl would be like scaling Doomsday to Superman in skill, because despite relative AP, they still have close fights, as the way to say there's like no skill gap, despite Doomsday literally being a mindless creature. So I think if anything, maybe Black Adam just isn't using techniques and skills due to being egotistical, or because it was a brief fight he just hadn't decided to take them out yet. However, this isn't really needed for Superman as a win con, so I'm not going to stress too much on it, but if included, it would probably make this match like 9-1 in Superman's favor, if not greater if he's going to take out hacks like bringing him to the source wall, or just boom tubing him anywhere to BFR him. With that being said, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like or comment. If you disagree, or would like to discuss the battle in general, you can message me on a Discord server, which will be in the description below. I would like to thank Highfather for someone who has collaborated with me and helped me out in many videos in the past. As always, a link to his Instagram will be in the description below for anyone interested in seeing what his content is and giving him support. Thank you to those who voted for this on the poll. This is a video I've basically been making on and off for over a year, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to finally do it. There's more content coming up, and if you have any suggestions for videos you'd be interested in, comment below. That's all for this video, so thanks for watching, and peace out.